So, have a look at this. British troops could be used in a World War III plan to send 800,000 soldiers to the Russian front line. Look, they can't even spell Russian there. Could Britain really be that stupid? Oh yeah, they can, can't they? Let's get into it. Alright legends, I'm just going to adjust my autofocus because I can see I'm phasing in and out. Not for the first time in my life. Last time I phased in and out was probably Plymouth Warehouse back in 1993. I actually did phase out once. Luckily I was friends with the bouncers in there and they picked me up and took me into their office. Like, Chris, are you alright? Yes. Right, legends. First off, like and subscribe if you would. We're mental on this channel, but we say it how it is. And we walk the enlightened path, so you won't get any nonsense from me. I promise you that. What I'm going to try and do is, I'm just going to go for it quick today, folks, because you know my videos are normally about an hour. And to be honest, I get penalised for that because people just haven't got an hour to watch. Have you noticed I got a guest in the studio today? I can't shut the blinds, so I'll have to put up with all the women staring through the window. You know, I'm being honest. All the girls they queue up outside my office, ready to batter the shit out of me. I'll tell you what, if you'd ever have told me I'd fall in love with a cat, I bought her because my girlfriend's cat died after like 18 years. So I thought, you know, I knew how much love she brought to my girlfriend's life. So I thought, oh, I'll go and get one. And I saw her advertised, looked at her face, well, that's a pretty cat, isn't it? Yeah, I'll go and get that one. And now it's like it's a fight in this house who loves her the most. But all right, Rubes, you my good girl. Yeah, I don't get a lot of response out of her. So right, let's just go through this quickly, folks. You know the score. Right, first thing, guys, obviously this is not Starmer's plan or World War III or Ukraine. You know, Starmer is a puppet for the global cabal. We know that. He's heavily compromised. He's converted to Judaism secretly, along with Donald, you know, according to reports. We know where their loyalties lie. They've all been corrupted into this, you know, cabalic system, whilst they pretend that they lead the country. Clearly they don't. Anybody knows. You study the history of conflict, it's the same greedy bunch of merchants that create all of these conflicts. So you don't need to correct me on the thumbnail. It's just I'm trying to attract people to the channel that believe Starmer's in charge of all of this, so that we can then enlighten them as to no, this is a battle of good against evil. It's as old as the heavens. And essentially, I don't even know if I can rescue this country, the global, or what. But what I do know is I can rescue you. That is an absolute given. And when you understand this from a Gnostic point of view, Gnosticism, gnosis, it means knowing. And I can tell you, I know I can help you wake up every day in paradise. So all this nonsense, doesn't affect you. In addition, when we're all waking up in paradise, the irony is we don't buy into this bloody nonsense. You start to appreciate your fellow human beings and you spread peace, love, kindness, empathy. I tell you now, you'd never walk into a bar with a Russian, a Ukrainian, American and a Brit and all just go, do you know what, let's have a big fight. It's utter nonsense. We're all being played. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm just going to talk quickly through it. So this is the fear-mongering, the propaganda. They're trying to gee up the gullible and naive British public, people that actually read shit rags like the Express. And when I say shit rags, I mean all of them. Telegraph, Guardian. It's all propaganda. It's all the same greedy bunch of merchants that own and control it all, and they don't like you. They actually consider you subhuman. So this is a headline. Apparently this is a plan that NATO has come up with. When you see that picture as a youngster, you think, oh, wow, all hero soldiers, don't you? And I'm not knocking our troops, folks. I was one, wasn't I, in my youth? But when you've been in the forces, folks, it's not like you think. It's not this bunch of fearless warriors. It's a bunch of order followers, many of whom are extremely cowardly, because it's not just about the scrap. Some are cowardly in the scrap. I've been in conflict. I've seen when things go bang, and I've watched what different people do, right? Everyone's human at the end of the day. But some of the people really are just order followers. They will stab you in the back in order to not be seen to be not following the order. And when you see this, you really do, you start to see that our forces really they're all a bit brainwashed. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean it respectfully to the fact that I don't want them to go to another war and them coming back in body bags. What you see is a bunch of like blokes whose daddy didn't really love them enough or weren't able to express that. And as such, they've all big and macho, and they got their uniforms, and they're out there with their funny coloured hats on, and right, is everyone looking at me? And it's just you see it for what it is what I'm trying to say. It's an ego-driven community that will wage war, drop napalm on men, women, and children without question, because they're locked in the ego, right? It's an egoic control mechanism. Because as you know, when you become an enlightened individual, you physically, the only way you'd hurt another human being if they were directly going to hurt you or your family. Not these fabricated Mickey Mouse wars that everyone knows, and unless you're stupid and still believe the official 9/11 narrative, which I reckon probably some people still do, don't they? Jury's out on that one. You'd have to be a bit docile to still think that these wars are in our interest. But, it's a funny thing being a soldier. You just want to go off to war. You don't want to be, you want to prove yourself. So we've got to start seeing it for what it is. And I don't know what the antidote to that is, because it's always going to be an attraction for a young man, especially someone like me who came from a damaged background. Folks, can we like and subscribe, please? Okay, I'm going to speed up because I said I was going to speed through it. So yeah, this NATO plan's been put together by Germany, apparently. It's silly, folks. If the Ukrainian, the Russian, and the Brit and an American went into a bar, they'd all be best mates within 5 minutes, swapping stories, showing photos of their family, just like in the First World War. They want you to believe that one night the troops stopped fighting and they played football and they sang carol songs and they shared photos of their family, right? Then they all ran back to their lines and started killing it. That was the norm in the First World War in the trenches. the Germans would come across, or the Brits would go across and say, look, fellas, we don't want to kill you. We don't even want to be here. It's bad enough. It's horrendous. It's harsh. So what we're going to do, right, is we've got this truce. You come over to ours tonight. We'll have a few beers, and you bring some of your Glühwein or whatever, some of your Holsten pills, and we'll have a bit of a, banyan. But when the bigwigs come, like, you just go off quickly. Right, that's how it. Think about it. These weren't like hardened combatants. They didn't want to be there. Some of them are teenagers. So we got to start calling this out for what it is. Absolute propaganda nonsense. Here's David calling out this Elwood, MP Elwood, Lieutenant Colonel in this British Army's 7th Brigade. So the people that literally massacred so many people under a certain narrative, I don't know, it might have been like a medical narrative or something, is now he wants to send your kids to war. These people are not well, folks. They're so absolutely entrenched in their ego that they go along with this stuff because they're going to get another promotion out of it, and they're going to get a bit more money in the bank, and they're all in such a mental club that they all believe this bullshit. They will do whatever they're told, through which is filtered down or drops down from their cabal masters. So let's just have a look.
Gifting equipment, we need to face Russia directly.
Oh, shut up, you absolute mentalness. Oh, like we'd win against Russia. Are you stupid? We can't even defend our own borders. Nonsense. Dun dun dun. Yeah, here, look, same thing again. All gaslighting, propaganda. You just remember, folks, the easiest way to think about it, all sides are controlled by the same gang. They just are. If you look into Chabad, you know the area that I'm talking about. What's this one? This was an interesting one. What is going on here with all these former Royal Marines that are coming out in compromising places? Do you remember a while back there was another Royal Marine called out as a spy or ousted as a double agent? Well, now there's another one. This chap here. And while I'm on the subject, do you remember the driver in Liverpool, the former Royal Marine that drove through the crowd in this really random sort of scenario? Was up in court recently, wasn't he? He's pled not guilty to it all. The reason I mention it is there's been talk of MK Ultra online. The mind control program that came at the CIA. They allegedly shelved it in the 70s, but like as if you can control people's mind through fragmenting the mind, then programming each of those fragments with an ultra personality, or one of those personalities being an assassin that you can broadcast a trigger word to, and they'll go to a hide, pick up a weapon, go and take out a president, and they won't even know they've done it. Someone's mentioned that is this something to do with MK Ultra? So this chap here arrived as an instructor for Ukrainian forces, but they're saying he's a Russian spy. This is all just a bit bizarre. Chap's name Ross Cutmore, who on instructions from Russian intelligence conducted espionage and sabotage activities on Ukrainian territory. He can't really have done much, could he? What was he going to do? Like get his Rambo knife out and cut through a telephone wire or something? Maybe sort of stick someone's ration packs, take out the orange tang and shred it to bits. It's a bit bizarre. I just mention it, folks. If you got any feedback on that, please put it below. This is the lad's Facebook page. Serious question. right? There's your lad's photo. There's one further down the page where they're all naked. Is that the sort of behaviour of a potential Russian spy? Look there, you can see how many people reacted to that. That are reacting to the Raise the Colours video that I did the other day. I'm going to be talking about that. What I'm going to do, folks, to keep this quick, I'm going to go over to locals in a bit, and we are going to be looking at these topics. So if you're not a member of my locals, there's the link there going by. This video I'm going to do in a bit is just for my paying supporters because they deserve it. Here's Tommy talking about Qatar money. Here's David putting him right at the topic of Israeli money. We're going to go and we'll dissect what's going on here. This is a bit of gaslight. Ireland's being gaslit because it wants to take down an Israeli monument, or it's a monument to an Israeli prime minister. They're getting the gaslighting treatment. I literally don't know how it makes you racist to stand up against genocide. And I think once you see this slur, then it's just getting ridiculous now, isn't it? I don't think anyone really gives a shit. When I hear that, it just makes me more, full of disdain for the people that you and everyone's being played. We're going to come and look at that. We're going to come and look at how Judaism is just being massively played. We're going to look at this is the French cops slashing the dinghy for the BBC. This is the feedback, the Raise the Colours thing. There's starting to be a lot of flack back about it now. This is just cropped up on my own page, and they're talking about, there's an awful lot of money transacted here, and it's, well, I'll talk about this over on locals, folks. Here's the lads, Ryan and Danny, on the latest mission where they claim that they've taken this boat out, and so I went slightly off track then, but we're going to locals, folks. So if you're not a member of the locals, you might want to consider it, because that's where people who are really on the spiritual battle, that's where we have a good yap, and I'll give people all the benefit of my wisdom. So here's the lad's Facebook page. Sorry, going back to what I was saying. He doesn't come across, does he, as like a Russian spy? Just looks like a bloke. Look, there he is with his missus. There he is with the boys. And there's I'll quickly flash past that. There was no actual nudity in that, folks. Can I just say, everyone had covered up. But let me know your thoughts. It just seems all a bit bizarre. Do you not think? Unless there's some kind of, Moscow recruiting program that targets former Royal Marines. What we got here, right? This is like the Telegraph massively pushing all this war propaganda. This chap here, he's saying, for Russia, conspicuous cruelty is a necessary weapon of war. We literally didn't see any evidence of that in Ukraine, did we? Do you remember we did a lot of Ukraine videos back in the day, and clearly the Russians were the ones that were behaving. They were following some sort of Geneva Convention, I think we just have to recognise this stuff for what it is. What's he saying here? As I go and meet one of Britain's leading historians of war, I'm struck by how one country, Russia, has dominated so much of Beaver's work. Yes, of course it has, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because the cabal, folks, they own and control all the publishing companies. It's part of their, black cube cult thing that they just love to buy into or be a part of. This is why I said the other day, Stephen King was a rubbish writer. He was a school teacher. All his book manuscripts went in the bin because he didn't get any, no one wanted them. Then he wrote Carrie, which is like this satanic school book about a school with pig's blood and all this kind of stuff, and a girl who become possessed, if I remember it rightly. Woke up the next day, had a $300,000 advance. Advance, folks. You heard that right. This is 45 years ago now, or thereabouts. That'd be equivalent of having like a $4 million advance now, I would say. If not, no, more than that, isn't it? That would be like having like a $12 million advance. Can make it up, don't I? None of us can do the maths anyway. All right, let's go for a $11.5 million advance. Why? Well, it's because they control all the media, don't they? They want people reading this dark, filthy shit. They want horror films coming out of, they want their boy Stephen to write to produce a film about a shark that literally traumatizes anybody that watches it for life. I still won't go in the bath now after watching Jaws. I won't even go in it when there's no water in it. So this is why Matey Boy's written all his books about Russia. It's because it's part of the narrative. Of course he's going to get a publishing contract for it. Why do you think, any book on war, they all do really well, don't they? So there you go. Just thought I'd enlighten people as to that. This Hamish is at it again. Look, Hamish. Hamish is a former colonel or something. And when you're a colonel and you're indoctrinated through that public school system and then brainwashed through Sandhurst, and then all you've ever done is read the Telegraph or the Guardian, then you really do become... it's AI, but it's an AI cat, by the way. Rubes, are you AI? You my good girl? Yeah. What am I saying? Yeah. Then every problem becomes a nail, and you become the hammer. If that's making sense. This is the. Do you remember the Novichok attack, in which Dawn Sturgis was killed in Salisbury, but prior to her dying, it was the Sergei Skripal, 66, and his daughter Yulia, 33. Just think about those numbers for a second. 33 and double 33, 66. Both master numbers, both used in Kabbalah, and both used in the occult Freemasonry. I say occult Freemasonry. Remember, you got Freemasonry and you got stuff going on way above the lodges. Both serve different functions for the Cabal, but 33 is quite an important number. It signifies a Masonic hit job. And so what happened is this Russian dissident and his daughter were poisoned in Salisbury, of all places. I don't even know why they went there. Who the hell goes to Salisbury? Actually, I go there quite often because my mate Sam lives there. Hello, Sam. And do you know what? This was in the road next to him. So I went to see Sam. Everywhere was cordoned off. Folks, can we like and subscribe? We got an awful lot of people watching, but I bet none of you are subscribed because most of you get unsubscribed from this channel by YouTube. So please check. Please hit the subscribe button and please support the channel. Not a lot of people will be talking about this. Not the whole shebang is what I mean. So yeah, these Russian dissident, what's it called when you flee from the country? You know what I mean. you seek kind of, refuge elsewhere. Anyway, so they settled in Britain, and they were poisoned, weren't they, with a chemical called Novichok that was then blamed on the Russians, that this is one that the Russians use. And subsequently, then another person died a bit later. They also got that guy who died horribly in hospital. Do you remember him? Now, what I'm pointing out here is are we that dumb that we still believe these hooky narratives? After what happened in New York, and what do you actually believe Russian operatives were running, putting their baseball caps over their eyes and mooching through Salisbury to go and put Novichok on the door handle of Russian exiles is the word I'm looking for, of a Russian exile and his daughter who's literally done nothing. It's so ridiculously obvious that they were priming you for Ukraine, and this nonsense like build up to World War III, which incidentally would just be, do we not learn anything from World War I and World War II? There's just another whole generation wiped out. Your city bombed flat, my city bombed flat, masses of death and mutilation everywhere. People trying to recover with half a face missing. It's not a good result. And guess what? It changes. Oh yeah, absolutely nothing. Right? The same cabal just gets even more rich and powerful. So this is why I highlight this. Sadly, Hamish here, he's not quite at the stage of enlightenment that we are, folks. It's a little bit, still a bit army-barmy, I think. Nobody should be pushing for war unless you're mentally retarded. I mean that in all truth, folks, Moving on, what we got here. This is another Express one they're pushing. They're not talking about these young men, their backgrounds, are they? Where they really come from, the sink estates of Great Britain, or England if you prefer. Lads whose daddy may not even known who their dad was, or dad left when they were young, or dad was too hard on them as a kid, or dad was too much dealing with his own childhood trauma to really show these boys the love that they needed. As such, they're going to go out and they're going to pick up a gun and they're going to kill, because that makes you a man. And what are they trying to do? They're desperately asking for daddy to love them, aren't they? We've got to start. I'm not saying every single one, folks. I haven't met every single one of these lads, have I? But I think when you've been on the ball for a few years, you just start to see this for what it is. This is Special Forces war crimes stain the memory of fallen soldiers, says whistleblower. This is a whistleblower that's come out about the SAS. He's saying that the SAS has gone down a sewer during the war, shooting toddlers in their beds and planting weapons on bodies to justify the killing of civilians. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just going to say this is what war is, folks. And I'm not pointing fingers at I'm saying if you don't want the massacre of civilians and illegalities and people going against stop buying into this war nonsense. This is what war is. It's nasty. It's not what you see on the telly where you get shot, a bit of tomato sauce comes out and you go, ugh. It's hideous. How many of these SAS troopers have died literally screaming, shrieking and crying like a baby, wishing that their mummy was with them? You don't think that happens? Get someone who's been in combat and ask them. It isn't nice. You've got egoic young men hyped up to believe they're the elite of the elite and that the powers that be are going to cover their backs for any indiscretions. Think about a certain embassy, right? Did all 6 terrorists really need to be shot dead? I'm not judging here whether they were, or I mean, they clearly fucked with the wrong people. Let's put it that way. And yes, they had shot a hostage. But what I'm saying is, like, when they discovered the chap coming out with the hostages, trying to sneak out, like, did he need to die? I'm just posing the question. Many will say, well, yeah, because he could have had a trigger, and yeah, but I'm just pointing out that there ain't no Queensberry rules, folks, in war. It's harsh. You got men all hyped up, all set with a certain task, and their value and self-worth as a soldier kind of rests on this. You don't go to war to not kill people. That's kind of how it is. So there we go. And the other thing I'll say is, what a lovely distraction, isn't it? What a distraction from all that events where those buildings fictitiously fell out the sky. Especially that third one. Oh, was it a number 7 or something? Utterly, why is our illustrious leaders not insisted on an investigation into that? An independent investigation, as was conducted by the University of Fairbanks, Alaska, that categorically stated that the NIST report on Building 7 was absolutely pathetic. It didn't stand up to any scientific scrutiny, and that in reality, a small office fire on 2 floors of a skyscraper physically cannot bring that building down. Bit of a distraction, all this SAS stuff, isn't it? From the reality that what were we doing over there in the first place, and how does lithium and opium factor in the equation when you think that the merchants historically, look at the Sassoon family, look at the Bush family history, they make their money from opium, don't they? Remember the CIA, the body bags coming back from the Golden Triangle during Vietnam? I'll say Golden Triangle, it's that area. What were those body bags packed with? Do you remember? Yeah, some of the old, it wouldn't be the brown stuff, that's the Turkish stuff, is it not? It'd be the old China white, I believe. Very strong stuff. Just another distraction, but also make of it what you will. Here's more stuff. Look, this is the Telegraph are doing it now. Preemptive strikes on Russia could be considered defensive act. That just reeks to me of poking the bear. Because whatever's going on in this equation, folks, they're controlling both sides of it. So whatever happens is what they've already decided to do. They just got to soften the minds of the public even more than they are already softened by putting this propaganda out. So when they actually go ahead with their plan, the public's already pre-programmed for it. So there you go. Right, here's Charlie Sheen. Interesting one, this. Charlie's just had his biopic come out on Netflix, hasn't he? He comes across quite well in it. They certainly sort of skirted over a few issues in Charlie's alleged of in his private life, but I'm not here to go into that. My point is that you usually get a biopic on Netflix when you toe the cabal line, don't you? All the people that towed the COVID line, they've had or the scam vid, I should say, they've had all their stuff, haven't they? The Beckhams have both, they've had one each. With what Charlie's saying here, let me just get it from the beginning.
people around 9/11 who already were thinking like this? Like maybe reality as presented to us is not entirely real.
People would believe things only so far.
Yes.
And so I would back off and I say, you know what, we're just gonna focus on two things. And if you can explain those, I'll submit to the official story.
But explain these anomalies first.
Building 7 in the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Just help me out there. You know, I've got to believe that the Pentagon is the most video protected, surveilled building in the history of the known universe, right?
Turns out not.
Well, I'm saying
I think we just have two videos from the parking lot.
Kiosk. Yeah. So that's the thing, and then
that is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and then building 7. It just you can't watch that and say that is the result of a fire that burned for 5 hours on 2 floors. You can't sell that to me. For years, that was always met with, that is disrespecting the victims. And I'm like, okay, how? How is that disrespecting the fallen heroes? How?
Did you know other people?
Oh, well, there we go. Well, good on Charlie for speaking out. I wonder if when they gave him his Netflix thing, they thought all that he was going to, be a bit savvy or Hollywood savvy, I should say, and keep that one on the back, put it under the rug. And then Tucker's invited, and Tucker's all firing up at the moment about all this stuff, isn't he? Because he's kind of fairly newly awakened. So there we go. Right, just a few things to say, folks, before I come on to the next bit of the show. First off, as you know, I'm going to summit Mount Everest in May. Expedition starts April to shine a light for struggling veterans, just like I was when I left the forces. I ended up chronically mentally unwell, chronically addicted. Just one sec. Is it Yingy in the... Yin Yang in the chat said, China White, been a long time since I heard that. Yes, when you ended up homeless and drug addicted on the streets of Hong Kong, then you'll understand how I know quite a lot about China White. But yeah, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, folks, which is raising awareness. We're recruiting damaged people for the military. We're giving them these funny coloured, different coloured hats and saying, oh, how important they are. And then when they leave the military, they suddenly think, oh, well, I'm not important anymore. And Daddy never loved me, did he? So I'm a failure. No one likes me. And next thing you know, they're taking themselves out of the game. And this is happening to my mates. And no one's talking about it. It's obviously a massive ego thing, isn't it? No one wants to admit in the forces that, yeah, loads of us had shit childhoods. It's probably there's a reason why we joined up, to escape, to prove ourselves, and this if you don't sort this healing out, folks, and it's not everyone. Some people just join the forces because their dad was in, or join whatever. I'm not brushing everyone with that, but what I'm saying is there's a significant number of people that join the military to escape a life of poverty and abuse, and zero outcome. And this is dangerous when they then come on Civvy Street and they've got all this unhealed childhood trauma that suddenly comes back to haunt them. On top of now they've lost their bloody job or their glowing career, and no one looks at them now like they're with the importance that they used to feel, put it that way. And you start doing a bit of that, the old self-medicating or whatever it might be. Before you know it, your life's spiraled out of control. Your missus has left, taking the kids. You can't hold down a job. And you think, well, it ain't worth it, is it? So I'm here to say, let's keep highlighting this. I'm going to be shouting it from the top of Everest. If you can chuck us a $5, folks, there's a link below, right? There's a link in the comments. If you can chuck us some more, that'd be really kind of you. But no one's talking about this. So help me talk about it using my platform, using the podcast that I go on, and using stunts like this. The money, folks, is nothing. It's going to cost me an awful lot of money to climb this mountain, right? We're talking thousands, right? All of which I have to either raise or borrow. But in the grand scheme of things, 35 grand is nothing. That doesn't even pay the photocopier bill for like Help for Heroes or something, you know. What is more important is, why are people going to Help for Heroes? And that in itself is unhelpful. You know, these monikers, wounded, hero, all the people like myself, I was in conflict. The guy behind me got shot 3 times. The gunman then turned and fired the next 6 rounds at me. I remember the grass flicking up in the Ardoyne in Belfast, and by which time we was up and running, and like literally didn't affect me whatsoever in any way, shape or form. It was probably one of the most fun days I think I've ever had, and it was everything we wanted to do as Marines, right? Fortunately, our boy was all right. He actually got back up and patrolled in with us. Anyone who's read my book up there, Eat and Smoke, it will know the story, right? My point is, that's not what screwed me up after leaving the military. You know, I didn't have any moral injury, folks, I should say. Moral injury is when you witness something or you commit an act in warfare that you later haunts you. And significantly, people from damaged childhoods, right, adverse childhood experiences, are way more likely to experience moral injury after conflict. So there's a link there as well, right? But no, my thing was, I ended up, you know, self-medicating in Hong Kong because deep down I wasn't a well-balanced person. I had low level, I suppose, low level stress, anxiety, feelings of exclusion, whatever it might be. I didn't realise, I thought I was a normal person. But when someone offered me meth for the first time, it was the meth. All the party stuff, never had a problem with. But that, whoa. Oh my God. You know, I talk about waking up in paradise a lot. I thought that was my paradise. Oh. I just wanted to be there all the time, every day for the rest of my life. And that was dangerous, wasn't it? So, and that came off the back of an extremely damaged childhood. Not something that I witnessed in conflict, although other experience as you go through life then build up and up and up to make it complex PTSD, don't they? There we go. Help me talk this talk, folks. There's a link below. It's £5. I know it's Christmas, but if you give with kindness, the universe is going to give you that back tenfold. That's how energy, vibration, and frequency works. And the other thing I'm going to say is, let me just have a look here. Who wants to come to the Arctic? That should be absolutely every bloke here now, and every girl, because we're taking a girls' trip next year. It should be every single bloke going, yeah, Chris, count me in. I haven't been up there. I need to do that. Yes, of course you need to do it. How many lives do you think you get? Or is it like getting fat and middle-aged in lycra is like your thing, is it? Seriously, come on, chaps. Me and my Royal Marines Commando team are going to take novices up to the Arctic Circle and train you in skiing and survival. We're going to be based at this wonderful adventure centre up there in the Arctic Circle. There's my boys. And we're going to be skiing through the pristine Arctic tundra from cabin to cabin, cooking by candlelight, away with a tech. We're just bit of boys bonding, lots of jokes, lots of Mickey taking. And we're going to get guys coming back going, do you know what? That has changed my life. I know I needed to do. That's been the most amazing thing I've ever done. Nothing is out of... We're not going to beast you, folks. I wouldn't be talking now if I didn't think you could do it, all right? Just need to be moderately fit, okay? By moderately fit, I mean at this stage, if you can walk between 5 and 10 mile, walk I'm talking, you'll be fine. If you can go out jogging and you can knock off a 4 miler, within like 40 minutes or something, that's cool. We're not looking for Rambos or like Iron Men or anything like that. It's just phenomenal. I cannot wait to get back up there. I'm thinking of it now, getting the night train up to the Arctic Circle. You guys can have a few beers if you wish. I'll be sticking with my flask of dandelion coffee. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. So there we go. Right. What I want to talk about is this. Right. Where do you think, when you look at that colonel there from The Guardian, and he's pushing for war, and he's telling us how bad Russia is, where is he on this? Is he asleep? Is he awake? Or is he enlightened? Has he realised yet that love is the highest form of frequency? And that it's only through manifesting love of both yourself and the universe and all that which is in it that will end you up in what the Buddhists call nirvana. Nirvana is a paradise state of mind. Or is he just obeying his masters? Yada yada. He's not even awake, folks, is he? I'm not slagging this guy off, but we got to use some examples here, haven't we? Use me as an example. I'm a knob. There you go. I'll slag myself off as well. He's certainly not awake, is he? He's not clinging to the matrix because he's still in it. This is what we want to be looking at. And how does this thing? Okay, sorry, I'm getting my curtain call here. So on the old spiritual dimension, you got the third dimension, the fourth, and then that which comes above. Where are you at the moment, would you say? Are you in third dimension where you believe every single thing you're told through your mainstream media? Are you fourth dimension when you realise, hang on, there's some narratives here that are a bit hooky. Them buildings didn't just fall out the sky, did they? Well, not for the reasons given. And that medical stuff probably caused more, undeniably caused absolute untold damage in the global population. It ain't right. Or are you starting to make steps into new human consciousness? Do you realise that if you cling to the matrix, you voting in the next Boris Johnson, or what's the one called at the minute? Starmer, isn't it? Do you think that's going to fix the next scamdemic, do you? Or do you think that's going to stop the next war? Or do you think you're exactly going to see the same outcome because these individuals are living down here in what's called the lower chakras, their lower self? They're living out their bestial desires. They think material gain is going to get them everything. They've signed a deal with Satan, haven't they? So just let me know, folks, because how do you get here? How do you raise your consciousness and start to get the results in life that you deserve? Quite simple. Turn off the mainstream media. In fact, stay off your devices and all that as often as you can, because it is noise, and noise is damaging to your psyche. Wake up, make your bed, because that demonstrates to your subconscious that you are the one in charge and that you control your destiny. Open the curtains, say thank you, universe, this amazing opportunity called life. I am grateful. I'm not a victim. I'm not down here, look, in victim mode, in ego consciousness. I understand that life doesn't do to me, I do to life. Then you leave the past behind because it doesn't define you. What you did, in the military at 18, that's if you're my age, that's like 40 years ago. What happened to you as a kid, just forgive that. People that were horrible to you when you were young, and by horrible, probably Cool. Probably a euphemism. What am I saying? Like, what trauma do you think they was going through? I'm not trying to condone the behaviour. Of course I'm not. I'm not hurting kids and battering them and abusing them. Never going to condone that, are we? What I'm saying is think about the person that hurt you. What was they wasn't that well balanced. Think about their parents. Their parents were still putting about the bogeyman myth that your well-being is the result of what other people do and how they live their life. It's crazy, isn't it, when you think the utter brainwashing we was all put through. You leave the past behind. You don't worry about the future because you've only got now. Literally now. Future doesn't exist. Then go out for your run, jog around the block, go for your swim, at least sit in the garden, give yourself some morning time. Give yourself some time away from your employer, who might be a lovely person, but they're not going to further your spiritual journey, are they? They're going to further their own bank account. And get on the super greens, folks. If you can't adopt, if a plant-based diet's not for you, and by plant-based I don't mean vegan, because vegans just eat loads of like potatoes and pasta and all that, and then they die just as young as carnivore. I mean, actually eat plants, green veg. It is really good for you. If you don't believe me, pick up a packet of these strips. Test yourself when you eat your normal crummy Western toxic carbohydrate diet. And then get on the super greens. Where are they? There we go. That will alkalize you. It will get rid of the acid in your body, and your cells will not need to detox 3 times a year. By detox, I mean all that stuff that we've been brainwashed to blame on other people. There's a link below, folks, for the super greens for this, right? In my Amazon shop. I might make some money off you if you make a purchase. I can assure you it will not make me a millionaire. Same as YouTube. But really, really worth getting on it, folks, because once your body is alkaline, you become that conduit to the divine, the crystal that you're supposed to be. You will not live as an enlightened individual if your body is acidic, because you're a biochemical mechanism, as it were. I won't talk more about that now because I talk about it a lot, And there we go. Right. So, folks, I'm just going to look at the chat quickly. I've got to find it first. Oh, hang on. Copy. I just got to copy this in. Is it there? No, it's not. Yeah, there it is. Right, let's just have a quick look at the chat to say thank you for joining, folks. Folks, if you can like and subscribe, that would be absolutely brilliant. Oh, where are we? Yeah. Yes, people are starting to see it, aren't they? That they're all corrupted. They're all controlled. They're only put in that position because they can be controlled. Working on the 5th dimension, good. But I think been off the scale on the GEMT. Do you mean this one? Yeah, it's quite frightening, isn't it, when you first learn out that you've lived your whole life in a bath of acid. Why do you think people my age are all getting hip replacements and knee replacements? All my old Marine mates all seem to have had one. And there's me. I was out this morning before breakfast. Not that I eat breakfast, but I already run 9 miles like I was a teenager. Do you know what I mean? Rode across the Atlantic in January, ran across the Sahara Desert year before that, ran the length of the United Kingdom not that long ago. You know, life's a choice, folks. Life's a choice. You got to step out the matrix. You know, oh, you got to have your dairy and your carbs and your meat. And it's like, oh, we're so programmable, you know? We're so programmable. But yeah, get on that and you'll be surprised. Yeah, and there we go. And the last one I'm going to come up with. Yeah, so the reason what was happening was I really, after the Atlantic row, I really thought, right, let's try go full on spiritual warfare here. You know, I want to be that warrior that you sort of dream of, you know, that person that just does it and gets it right. And we had a few drinks before, during and after the row. It didn't end well, you know. It was a thing, and it spurred me on to say, do you know what, I'm always dipping in and out of like abstinence and plant-based, and let's just go full on. Let's give it all up. Give up the meat, give up the alcohol, give up the caffeine, and you know, a few other things. Let's exercise every single day. Let's test ourselves and be like, yes, I'm alkaline every day. I'm good. Let's heal all up the niggles in my body, because you heal yourself through your diet and through movement, and it all came good. And as part of what I started doing, I was getting decaf coffee, but decaf coffee is no good because it's still acidic. It's a toxic berry. It's a toxic bean that grows in the Central and South American jungle. Anyone who's travelled there will have seen it, you know, being cultivated. And so I did a search and said, right, what herbal coffee is alkaline? And dandelion was the one that came up. So I bought a few jars of it. I'll tell you what, it's just nicer than normal coffee, you know, because you think about it, is it really right that we live in a country where most people walk around with like a bucket of a toxic substance just to like get themselves to a job that they probably don't like anyway? It's not right, is it? You're killing yourself just to go and, you know, fund a lifestyle that you're not particularly happy with, you know? It's cool.
Alright, Aaron's right downstairs.
Yes. Alright, Mum. Thank you. Later. Sorry, that's my mum. She want to know if I'm washing behind my ears. Right, I got to go, folks. I'm going to take a 3-minute break, then I'm going to do the locals thing. We're going to be chatting about the Tommy Robinson stuff, the stop the boats, raise the flag stuff. We'll do it over on locals in a minute. If you can like and subscribe. Sorry, I just cut it a bit randomly short there, but I'm getting the nod. Right, that's it. Yeah, like and subscribe. And can I just say a massive thank you to everyone that's supported me for $1.99 a month on any of these platforms. All the links are below. And also, thank you to everyone that sent money by GoFundMe or PayPal. I really, really appreciate it. And I genuinely couldn't do this if it wasn't for you. So thank you. Much love.
Morning, legends. I'm Chris Thrall. I'm a former Royal Marines commando. Upon leaving the forces, ended up chronically mentally unwell, self-medicating, undiagnosed trauma, and homeless on the streets of Hong Kong. It was the toughest battle I ever had to fight, but without the support of the medical community, without self-help groups, I learned the answers to rebuild my life, go on to complete a series of extreme charity challenges to send a vital message out there for other veterans who are struggling. I've run the length of the United Kingdom, run across the Sahara Desert, rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Now I'm taking on my biggest challenge yet, climbing Mount Everest. If you can support me, friends, and continue to shine a light for our struggling veterans and let them know there is life after PTSD, I'll put a link below. Can spare a £5? That's absolutely fine. And let's give our veterans the respect that they deserve. Much love.
No matter